Hi, if you want to watch exclusive content with hot girls that you won't watch on YouTube, namely where Naruto roasts Kushina and Mikoto and many other hot girls without restrictions, then visit my Boosty channel at the link in the description.
A hot day in the village hidden in the leaves, or simply Konoha. On the main. A boy of 5 to 6 years old, with red hair and eyes of the color of hyacinth, dark purple, in a gray t-shirt and shorts of the same color, was running down the street. And he was running from a group of residents, consisting of 2 to 3 people, who wanted to harm the boy. He ran fast, and with great difficulty escaped from them, avoiding another visit to the hospital. The boy was smart for his age. He had already guessed 2 years ago that he was the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed demon fox. And his guess was confirmed by the fox himself. Flashback. After another beating, a boy of 4 lost consciousness from pain shock. Finding himself in a place similar to sewer, where the water reached above the ankle. Childish curiosity took over, and Naruto, that was the name of this boy, decided to explore this strange place. Having walked through the labyrinth of tunnels for about 20 minutes, he found a huge hall where there was a golden cage, and in the middle of this cage there was a piece of paper with the inscription seal attached. Afterwards the boy decided to come closer to find out what was behind this cage. Suddenly 2 large eyes with vertical pupils opened inside it. "Well, hello, baby. Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you," the stranger said in a rather bass voice. The darkness slowly receded and the boy saw a fox of giant size. He was involuntarily overcome with fear, his legs shook and the boy fell into the water. "Don't be afraid, baby, I won't hurt you," the demon fox continued to calm the boy down, but he wasn't doing a very good job. "So it's true," Naruto said, still trembling with fear. "I really am a Jinchuriki." Uzumaki said the same thing. "What are you talking about, kid? Did you know that you were a Jinchuriki?" asked the fox, already wondering how he found out. "Yes. I guessed it," Naruto said without fear. "After all, my entire short life, no one called me by name. Only demon or fox spawn or something like that. And these beatings? Every day, and especially October 10th. The day when you attacked Konoha. On this day, they practically declare a hunt for me." The red-haired man grinned ironically. "It's not hard to guess that I am one of the carriers of one of the tailed beasts, which are called Jinchuriki." The fox was amazed by the knowledge of the 4-year-old boy. But he didn't show it outwardly, just in case he decided to ask where he got this information from. "Where did you get such knowledge, kid?" Demon Fox asked him, because he was really interested. "I learned about the Jinchuriki in the library, which they also don't let you into. Bastards. But I found a loophole and now I go there in my free time and read books." Uzumaki said everything without thinking. "By the way, my name is Uzumaki Naruto, and what's yours?" "My name is Kuarema." "Nice to meet you, little Naruto." The fox answered the red-haired man's question. "Me too, somehow happier or something?" the red-haired boy answered. "By the way, little Naruto, tear off a small piece of this paper so that I can see. Here, feel what you feel. And we can communicate mentally." "Okay, and will you train me? So that I can fight back?" Uzumaki asked with hope in his eyes. "Of course. I don't want my Jinchuriki to be so frail and weak," Kurama said with a grin. "I'll make a strong shinobi out of you," Fox said with a grin. After this encounter, the young Uzumaki decided to train and fight back against his bullies. He began to train physically under the guidance of Kurama. During one of these training sessions, a tail grew out of his lower back. No, something like a tail or tentacles. Kurama immediately called him into his subconscious. "Kurama, do you happen to know what this thing is coming out of my back?" Naruto asked with some fear. "Baby, it's a Kagun." The boy looked questioningly at the fox. "It's one of the types of Kekii Genkai of the Uzumaki clan. I've only seen one person with such a genome." The red-haired boy looked expectantly at the Ninetales. He was glad that he had a genome, and decided to learn more about it. "Ashina Uzumaki, the first and last Uzukage of the village hidden in the whirlpools. Now I understand why you react this way to human food. The owners of this genome eat only human flesh." Naruto's eyes widened at these words. He had spent his entire life disgusted by the food that was given to him at the orphanage, or that he bought himself. But he had to eat, or he could die of hunger. It was because of the genome that the young Uzumaki was in extreme shock. That explains why I always disliked that kind of food. So, should I eat human meat? Naruto asked, looking extremely excited. Yes. Ashina fed on it. How do I use this tail? Naruto asked with interest. It's not a tail, it's your limb. You can control it as you want, bend it, straighten it, twist it. It's also impossible to cut it off with a simple weapon. Only if it's not filled with chakra. And another good property of this genome Kurama paused, it can evolve. Wow. If it evolves, will my powers increase too? The fox nodded cool. Kurama, you said that this is one of the Uzumaki clan's Kekkei Genkai, tell me about the second one. The young Uzumaki demanded. The second and more common one is the Biju chains. They were mostly awakened in Uzumaki women. But some men have them too. In this fanfic, the Uzumaki clan is alive, but there are more than 200 of them and they live in Konoha. Okay, now let's think about where we can find human meat, Fox said with a grin, to which Naruto also grinned, showing his sharp fangs. Young Uzumaki trained to the fullest. After training, he always went to a large cliff, because it was in this cliff that villagers or shinobi sometimes committed suicide. Sometimes he found bodies, sometimes not. Today, having found another corpse, he dismembered it. He left the bones, and wrapped the meat in bags with dates for their use. He ate once a week, but he ate quite a lot, 5 to 8 kilograms of human flesh. He especially loved hearts or liver, for Naruto it was a delicacy. Ask why the ANBU do not keep an eye on him. After all, the Jinchuriki and the weapons of the village are supposed to be watched. But because they did not watch, good for our hero. Having dismembered the body and taken all the bags, he walked slowly to his ruin, because there is no other way to call it. He lived in an abandoned building, fortunately it still stands. Entering the house, which had one room, he first went to the kitchen where there was a gas stove, a square table 1.5 by 1.5 meters with chairs and a refrigerator. Opening it, Naruto put meat with a heart, kidneys, and other organs there. Then entering the room in which there was a wardrobe, a bed, a nightstand and a book table with a chair, he changed into home clothes. Young Uzumaki decided to eat liver for dinner, because he really loved the scarlet-haired organ. Having washed it all down with coffee, he brushed his teeth and went to bed. The next morning, having gotten up and done all his chores, Naruto went as far as he could to the training ground. He arrived in 30 minutes, because the path was not short. He started with a warm-up, which consisted of running around the training ground, push-ups, squats, abdominal exercises and pull-ups on the horizontal bar. After that, he began to develop the hearth that he had awakened recently. According to Kurama, chakra needs to be dispersed throughout the body and through the SCCH, chakra circulation system, in order to increase its volume and improve control over it, the scarlet-haired man thought in his head. Having finished with meditation, Naruto repeated the same warm-up. And decided to train his genome. The young Uzumaki released more than 2 Kagun, which were dark red, the veins around it were still visible, and it pulsated. Naruto trained to control them. He imagined in his head that he controlled these tentacles like hands. They were stronger than steel, sharper than a katana, and they had a strong armor-piercing power. And so the days of our hero passed. Naruto has given up hope of being recognized by the village, and is now driven only by the acquisition of power. How did the Hokage family live all these 6 years? After Minato Namikaze gave his firstborn son to an orphanage, he lied to his wife and close associates that their son was dead, and he sealed the demon fox into another child of the Uzumaki clan. Kushina was depressed after learning that their son was dead, but she, strangely, quickly recovered from the loss. And raised her little daughter Naruko. After 1 year from that fateful day, the former head of the Uzumaki clan, Kushina, gave birth to a boy. She and Minato named him Menma. Why former, you ask? Because she gave up her position as the clan head immediately after she became the 4th Hokage's wife. She wanted to make her son Menma the clan head, which the temporary clan head Hito Uzumaki and his clansmen were not happy about. After all, he wasn't even an Uzumaki, didn't have red hair and had little blood of this scarlet-haired devil's clan in his veins. And Kushina decided that he would become the clan prince? That was the height of impudence. They no longer communicated, breaking all ties between themselves. Hito was quite an old man. He was about 65 to 70 years old, but he looked only 40. The children, Naruto, Menma, grew up quite spoiled. They covered up all their actions with their father, because Hokage Kushina did not punish them, but Minato regretted that his children became like that. He often thought about returning the firstborn to the family, because for all these 6.5 years the chakra of the nine-tailed demon fox was not noticed. But the elders and the civil council were against it. Minato told them in order to return his son. Well, tomorrow is October 10th, 7 years have passed. I wonder how Naruto is doing? The Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves spoke his thoughts out loud. I'll have to buy presents for my daughter. At this time, in one of the distant training grounds, a boy of 6 to 7 years old was training with his genome. Naruto was fighting with his clone on a vertical surface, training both his Kekkei Genkai and chakra control. In another part of the training ground, 5 clones of the young Uzumaki were learning to walk on the water surface. Ask how he knows the shadow clone technique? Flashback. Naruto once accidentally broke the floor in his room. Well, how did he break it? He was just standing there. Suddenly the boards broke under him and he fell. There was a secret place in the floor. Probably the previous owner of this apartment left it. But it's better for our hero. There Naruto found a couple of scrolls with techniques such as substitution, henge, shunshin, and shadow cloning. There were also 20 shurikens and 20 kunai along with a tanto. True, they were a little rusty, but if they were thoroughly cleaned, they would be usable. A couple of notes for training in taijutsu and bukajutsu. And there were a couple of chakra conducting sheets. Also found was a scroll for sealing objects, but only one. End flashback. Tomorrow is October 10th. God, how I hate this day. Oh well, let anyone try to do anything, I swear he won't leave me unharmed. Uzumaki thought to himself and smiled sadistically. I won't hide my power. If I sense danger, I'll use it right away. The scarlet-haired man said out loud. Having dispelled the clones, Uzumaki decided to practice throwing kunai and shuriken. He wasn't very good at it. After reading the notes found in the cache, he repeated it again, but everything was the same. After carefully reading everything again, Naruto found his mistake. Now it worked more or less. He threw shurikens 4 out of 10, and kunai 3 out of 10. Well, better than nothing. Having said this, the young Uzumaki collected all the throwing equipment and went home. When Naruto got home he put everything back in the hiding place. For some reason he didn't feel at peace and decided to prepare for tomorrow just in case. He used the henge and went to the weapon shop. When he got there, he bought 2 pouches, a flask for water and other liquids, a sheath for the tanto, 10 explosion tags, a couple of combat pills to replenish chakra and, just in case, another scroll for sealing items. All this cost him about 12,300 ryo. When he got home, Uzumaki took off the henge and began to prepare for the next day. He took all his savings, which amounted to about 100,000 ryo, wow, and sealed them in a scroll. Ask him where he got such a sum from? Because he saved it. After all, he found equipment and scrolls with knowledge. He doesn't spend money on food. So he almost never spent the orphan's allowance, except for utilities and buying clothes. Let's get back to our hero. Taking a month's supply of meat, human flesh, he sealed it in a second scroll. Taking the bandages, Naruto wrapped it around his right thigh and put a pouch there, and the second one on his back. He put all the kunai, shurikens, and explosive tags there. He put a flask of water on his belt, and put a tanto on the right side of his back. By the way, Uzumaki Naruto's appearance, he had blood-red hair reaching his neck, eyes the color of hyacinth, dark purple. His face was cute. He looked more like a girl than a boy, and this did not upset him at all. He was dressed in a gray t-shirt, over it was a black windbreaker with red inserts on the sides. Pants of the same design, and black sandals completed it all. Having finished cooking, Naruto put everything in the cupboard. After going into the kitchen, he made himself some coffee. After drinking the hot drink, he went to the bathroom, brushed his teeth, and went to bed. Waking up in the morning, Uzumaki couldn't get over the feeling of uneasiness. Putting on his equipment, which he had recently bought, the Jinchuriki went to his favorite training ground number 3. This training ground was old and abandoned. It was built back in the days of the first Hokage. Once there, the boy began his daily warm-up, which consisted of running around the training ground, push-ups, squats, pull-ups on the horizontal bar, and abdominal exercises. After finishing his warm-up, Naruto asked his teacher and best friend, "Kurama, what are we going to do today?" Uzumaki asked, going into the subconscious. "So, today we will train your wonderful eyes," said the fox, grinning. "Now create 10 clones, send 5 to the lakes to train walking on the water surface. 4 for rest, and with the last one you will fight in taijutsu using your eyes." Already seriously and with a commanding tone said the nine-tailed. "I understand," the young Jinchuriki answered somewhat lazily. Naruto did everything as the fox told him. Now there were 2 identical boys with red hair standing on the training ground. The original Uzumaki activated his eyes and gestured for the clone to attack. The clone saw the gesture and took off at full speed. The original saw his copy's movements at half the speed. Having blocked the clone's blow, the original was about to strike, when his copy made a block. He saw weak points in his clone's block and struck one of them. The clone vanished. Having created another clone, the scarlet-haired man began the fight again. The clones of the Jinchuriki were finally able to walk calmly on the water surface. Having gathered, they all headed to the middle of the training ground, where two Uzumaki were currently sparring. Having arrived there, they stood in a row. The original dispelled all the clones. He decided to meditate some more. After 2 hours of meditation and an increase in his SCCH, systemic circulatory chakra, Naruto decided to go home and eat. Uzumaki was walking down the street to his home. Suddenly he saw a column of smoke coming from the side of his home. Naruto decided to take the upper paths to quickly get to the place. When he got there, he saw the building where his apartment was. Naruto's eyes widened. The whole building was on fire. Uzumaki saw 5 to 6 drunk Chunin next to the building. Putting 2 plus 2 together, he realized that they were the ones who set the building on fire. The Ninetails Jinchuriki was angry as never before. The Chunins, seeing the object of their indignation, began to shout, "Today you will meet your end, demon." The one apparently in charge among them shouted, "You will regret burning my house." Shouting at the last words, Uzumaki said, "Of course, not everyone will like it if their house is burned down." He took the tanto in his right hand, and with his left, he took a kunai from behind his back, and stood in a fighting stance. The residents came to the screams. They, seeing what was happening here, began to watch, anticipating the beating of, as they said, the demon fox. "Yes. Kill the demon fox. Deliver us from this demon. You will become heroes if you kill him," the villagers shouted, while the Chunins grinned nastily upon hearing the support from the civilians. The residents, 30 meters away from the shinobi, formed a semicircle. To the right of Uzumaki was the wall of some building, not his house. To the left were the residents, waiting for the fight. The situation was heating up with each passing second, and the Chunin decided to attack first. 2 of them came forward throwing kunai. Uzumaki activated his eyes and blocked the cold weapons thrown at him with his tanto. They clashed in taijutsu. The Chunin and Naruto fought about evenly. Uzumaki held his own thanks to his eyes, and the Chunin, because they were drunk, couldn't hit their target accurately. Having created 25 clones, his maximum, the scarlet-haired one sent 23 to the remaining Chunin who were watching the entire fight. He left 2 to deal with his enemies in hand-to-hand combat. One of the Chunin made a block in order to block the original strike. The real Naruto saw a gap in his opponent's block. He stuck a kunai into his right side, thereby weakening his movement. With a quick jerk, the scarlet-haired one found himself behind the Chunin and began to strangle him. This lasted for 2 to 3 minutes. The shinobi lost consciousness due to lack of oxygen. The second Chunin threw kunai and shuriken, keeping his distance. He did not want to repeat the fate of his comrade. While the first clone distracted his opponent, the second made a trap using a fishing line. The trap was like a web. If the enemy got caught in it, he would not escape. Having given a signal that the trap was ready, 2 clones began to quickly break the distance between them and the enemy. One of Uzumaki's copies struck, while the second made a trip. The Chunin fell right on the trap. He was tied up and could not get up. Then he was knocked out with a kick to the chin by the original, who had just returned from his battle. By this time, out of the 23 clones, only 7 remained. The task of these clones was to distract the 4 remaining Chunin while the original and 2 clones dealt with the other 2. The kid is behind. The scarlet-haired man heard in his head. One of the Chunin, using a shunshin, appeared behind the original and began to strike. Hearing the warning from the fox, the boy immediately began to dodge the blow aimed at his neck. He was caught. Blood gushed out like a fountain. It turned out that the kunai had hit the carotid artery. Damn. I wanted to cut off his head with that blow. The Chunin who delivered the cutting blow said in frustration. Jumping back, Uzumaki began to squeeze the wound with one hand, in the other he had a tanto, but the blood continued to flow. The clones, 9 pieces, jumped back to the original, and surrounded him. One of the copies of Uzumaki began to help the original. Taking bandages and cotton wool from the pouch, the clone began to bandage the wound. The blood began to flow much less than before, but still flowed. The villagers watched with pleasure as the Ninetails Jinchuriki lost blood. They wanted the Uzumaki to die a painful death. Baby, I stopped the bleeding. The wound will heal in a couple of hours. Be careful, said the scarlet-haired fox in his head. Thank you, Kurama, the boy mentally thanked the fox. We have to retreat, said one of Naruto's clones. No, the original answered hoarsely but firmly. Shut up. You're lucky it didn't hit your artery that badly, otherwise you would have died on the spot, said the clone who was bandaging the scarlet-haired one. The original released a Kagun from his back, the clones did the same. Seeing this, one of the Chunin began to form seals to use the technique. Naruto's clone did not want this, and with the help of Shunshin he moved behind the Chunin's back, and stuck a tanto in his ass. That is, in his back crotch. Uzumaki did not aim, he just wanted to strike, and that's how it happened. A squeaky scream resounded throughout the street, and the Chunin lost consciousness from the pain. There are 3 left, the Ninetails Jinchuriki said with a maniacal smile. 2 of the 4 elders of Konoha were walking around the village. Namely Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimuro Danzo. In my fanfic, Danzo is as good-natured as Hiruzen. Everyone bowed to them as a sign of respect when they met, because they were some of the strongest shinobi in the village. Suddenly they heard a squeaky cry, not understanding anything, they decided to find out what was going on there. Walking, both heard the sound of a battle and began to run to the place of the battle. When they got there, they saw the villagers watching the drunken Chunins fight with the Jinchuriki. 4 of the 6 were already unconscious, the Ninetails Jinchuriki had a deep, medium-sized wound on his side from a kunai, and his neck was bandaged with a bandage that had already turned red. The elders also saw the Uzumaki's eyes and tails. They stood in a stupor, seeing such a picture. The scarlet-haired boy was out of breath. Of course, a 7-year-old boy against experienced Chunin's alcoholics is not some kind of game. Naruto decided on a final dash, making a Kagun. As a support he jumped with an open mouth on the Chunin, who recently cut his neck. Gripping his teeth, Uzumaki nailed the Chunin's right hand to the ground, holding the opponent's left hand with his right foot. And with his free hand, the boy squeezed the shinobi's head so that he did not move, still not breaking the bite. Suddenly, he tore off part of the Chunin's neck. The shinobi could not even scream from the pain, because Naruto tore out his vocal cords along with the flesh. Seeing this, the last Chunin decided to run away. He turned around, but immediately received a blow to the jaw from the Uzumaki copy. The clone approached the enemy and lifted him by the hair. Forcibly opening his eyes, he began to point in the direction where his friend was being eaten by the original. For example. After the Ninetails Jinchuriki tore off the flesh, which greatly frightened the villagers who had been watching the battle the entire time. Even the elders who had been through 2 wars and seen many battles were shocked. Uzumaki began to chew, which was no less frightening to those watching. He turned over his shoulder to the villagers and smiled maniacally, showing sharp animal fangs. Returning to the victim, who was experiencing hellish pain, he continued to eat him. A few minutes later, Uzumaki ate the Chunin's left shoulder. Danzo and Hiruzen were about to run up to him, but he threw a smoke bomb underneath himself, which he took from the pouch of one of the shinobi. When the smoke cleared, neither Naruto nor his clones were there. Approaching the unconscious Chunin, they saw that none of them had pouches. The elders called in a detachment of Umbu to help hospitalize the Chunin. Somewhere about half a kilometer from the battle site, Uzumaki clones were running, holding the original in their hands. Behind them ran 3 more copies of the scarlet-haired man, in their hands, which were the same Chunin pouches. Arriving a few minutes later at the good old 3rd training ground, the clones dragged Naruto to the tree trunk. Having bandaged the wound, the clones placed the trophies next to him and disappeared. Commentary on the first kill. I hope I described the battle clearly. If not, then please don't throw slippers. Grinning face with sweat. Return to the clan. Naruto woke up at 11 o'clock the next morning. He stood up abruptly, and that was his mistake. A terrible pain pierced his body, which gradually went away. Already awake? Okay, lie down for half an hour. I'm treating your body here. The fox emphasized the last word, to the scarlet-haired man who had just woken up. Hello to you too, Kurama. Thank you for taking such good care of me. Uzumaki answered the Ninetales in a grateful tone. Half an hour later Naruto stood up, the pain was gone. Uzumaki decided to remove the bandages. Having made 1 clone, the original ordered him to remove the bandages. The clone slowly began to unwrap the bandages on his neck and then on his left side. The scarlet-haired copy saw a horizontal scar, halfway down his neck. Another scar was located to the left of the boy's torso and ended on the side of his back. The boy dispelled the clone, took out a flask of water, and began to wash off all the dried blood. Finally, he drank the rest of the water to refresh himself. Uzumaki pulled himself together and decided to go to a ramen shop called Ichiraka Ramen to drink coffee. Without Ichiraka Ramen, the Naruto universe is not Naruto. Whoever got it, got it. Uzumaki walked towards the ramen shop. People threw him hateful glances mixed with fear, because in one day the rumors spread quickly. Uzumaki only smiled at these glances. He liked to irritate these civilians. Degree. Hello, old man Tucci, I am Chan. Entering the room, he greeted the owners of Uzumaki. Hello, Naruto, they answered the scarlet-haired man in unison. As usual for you? Asked Diam. Yes, the Jinchuriki answered briefly. Listen Naruto, is it true that you beat up 5 Chunin and killed 1 yesterday? Asked the old man who was preparing the broth. Honestly, yes. Well, first they burned my house, then they attacked me, and that's how it happened. Uzumaki answered Tucci's question. I don't consider myself guilty. And we don't blame you. I am, continued the dialogue, my father, and I thought that sooner or later, it had to happen, she said, putting a mug of coffee next to the boy. Thank you for supporting me, Naruto said with a warm smile as he drank the hot drink. So they talked for about half an hour on various topics until Umbu came to the establishment. Uzumaki, Naruto, the 3rd Hokage is calling for you, the Umbu said in a commanding tone. Got it, I'm going. While old man Tucci, I am Chan, having said this, Uzumaki paid and left with the Umbu. By the father and daughter said into the void. With the help of a shunshin, Umbu transported Uzumaki to Hiruzen's office, which was located in the Sarutobi clan's quarters. Hello, Naruto-kun, said the head of the Sarutobi clan. Hello, old man, third, the boy smiled affably. Why did you call? We decided your fate yesterday, at the meeting of the heads of clans and jounins. Hiruzen began. Old man, I will not obey these old farts from the civil council, and the left clans that have no relation to me at all, and even more so. Naruto interrupted the third. No. Listen to the end. Sarutobi decided to calm the boy. It was like this. Flashback. Evening of November 10th, that is, the day before the conversation with Hiruzen. The 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen and his friend, the head of the Umbu division called Root, Shimura Danzo, appointed a council of clan heads, along with the Jounin. The acting Hokage, Minato Namikaze, also arrived at the council. Of course, how could it be without him? Straight face. I gathered you here to talk about the Jinchuriki. The former Hokage began the conversation. What actually happened? Asked the head of the Uchiha clan, Fugaku Uchiha. Probably more than half of those present here know that some kind of incident occurred today, Danzo stated, more than asked. Today, the Jinchuriki's house burned to the ground. 6 Chunin who were in a drunken state are to blame. Hiruzen continued for his friend. When the house was set on fire, the Chunin attacked the Jinchuriki. During the battle, 5 were seriously injured and 1 was killed. Everyone was simply shocked by what they heard. Even those who heard rumors about this incident did not really believe it. I should have killed him that day. Some old hag who was one of the Konoha elders started screaming. There would have been less problems. Actually, these Chunins are to blame themselves, began to justify his clanmate, the temporary head of the Uzumaki clan, Hito Uzumaki. Silence. The 4th Hokage shouted. Continue. Hiruzen-sama. Minato gave the word to the head of the Sarutobi clan. Yes. The 3rd Hokage continued the dialogue. When the Chunins fought against Uzumaki, I saw something. Sarutobi paused. It was the first Uzukage gene called Kagun. And what kind of gene is this? Asked the head of the Hyuga clan, Hayashi Hyuga. Our teacher Taburama-sama Shimura began said that the owner of such a genome feeds on human flesh. At the same time, this Kekkei Genkai evolves. This explains why Uzumaki Naruto ate the neck and left shoulder of one of the Chunin during the battle. Hiruzen finished his story. And what do you suggest we do with the Jinchuriki? Asked the worried head of the Yamanaka clan. If he has the genome of the first Uzukage, then that means that he is his descendant. Hito Uzumaki began his speech. It is decided. After thinking for a bit, the head of the Scarlet-Haired Devils clan said, standing up from his seat, he will be the next head of the Uzumaki clan. No way. Hamuro Mitokado and Koharu Udatane started shouting. I think we should accept Hito-san's proposal, said the head of the Nara clan, Shikaku Nara. As I understood from Hiruzen-san's story, he will not spare those who attack him. Agreed, confirmed Fugaku Uchiha. Other clans that agreed included Yamanaka, Akimichi, Nara, Inazuka Aburama, Hyuga, Uzumaki, and other clans whose names I don't know. Minato was very happy, but he didn't show it outwardly. End flashback. I see, said Naruto, who had been listening to Sarutobi's story for an hour. Naruto-kun, do you also think of me as an old fart? Hiruzen asked, looking sadly at the scarlet-haired boy. No, old man, I call the other 2 elders old farts. Hamura and Koharu, I think? Uzumaki answered the former Hokage's question. And you and old man Danzo, I. How can I say this? Well, I respect you. Naruto barely squeezed out of himself. By the way, Naruto-kun, the temporary head of the Uzumaki clan will come now to take you under his wing. Sarutobi said with a smile. Half an hour later, an old man entered the office of the head of the Sarutobi clan. He looked to be 35 to 40 years old, with red hair that reached his shoulders. He was dressed in a black yukata with the emblem of the Uzumaki clan on the back. Hello, Hiruzen Hito greeted, sitting down on a chair next to Sarutobi's desk. Hello Hito, the former Hokage greeted back. I came for Uzumaki Naruto, the documents are ready. Here, having said this, he put the papers on the table. Good, he's already here. He nodded towards the young Uzumaki. Hello, old man, said Naruto, who had been silent until this moment. Hello, my name is Hito Uzumaki, and I am your guardian. Having said this, he extended his hand towards Naruto. Excellent. Now I will call you Grandpa Height or just old man. The boy shook the outstretched hand, smiling. I don't mind, okay Hiruzen. Let's go, see you later, said the elder Uzumaki, and got up from the table and went to the door. For now, the old man is third. Say hello to old man Danzo from me. Having said this, Naruto followed his, now grandfather. Until next time, the 3rd Hokage said at last. The 2 scarlet-haired men reached the gates of the Uzumaki clan's quarter. Entering it, they went to the house of the eldest of them. Walking down the clan street, the Jinchuriki was not looked at with hatred or disdain, which the young Uzumaki was extremely surprised by. Surprised? Asked the old man walking next to Naruto, and noticing his reaction. Yes. Why are they looking at me so strangely? Asked Uzumaki Jr. Because you are the next head of the Uzumaki clan, and the direct heir of the first Uzukage, answered the question of interest to the little heir. Ah, so that's why, Naruto said without showing any emotion. Okay, let's go to my house quickly, said the temporary head of the Uzumaki clan, picking up the pace. They came to a 2-story house that was in the center of the block. The foundation of the house was made of stone, and the house itself was built of red oak. The clan emblem was on one of the walls of the house. It was painted on the entire wall. There were also emblems in every house in this block, decorating it in red. Entering the house, Naruto saw a small hallway, Going further, he saw a huge kitchen, in which there was a refrigerator, a gas stove, shelves for dishes, and a large rectangular table with chairs. Naruto, choose a room on the second floor, except for the first one on the right side of the stairs. Hito said and continued. Then join me for coffee. Naruto nodded and went to choose a room for himself. He chose the room to the left of the stairs. He placed his equipment there, left it, and went to the kitchen. He poured himself some coffee and sat down opposite his grandpa. So Naruto, I have a question for you, the elder Uzumaki said seriously. Will you go to the Shinobi Academy? No, the younger Uzumaki answered briefly and clearly. I knew it, with your skills you can already be considered a genin. The elder Uzumaki said more softly, but if you are free for these 5 years, then I will teach you how to manage the clan. And under my guidance you will learn calligraphy, fuinu, elemental techniques, and much more. And I will give you a pass to our clan's library. All this will take you 4 years. And in your last year you will go to the Shinobi Academy. The temporary head said his idea. Why should I go to the academy? Naruto asked. To find friends. It wouldn't hurt to make friends with someone. Answered the question of the future head of the clan. Got it, Uzumaki answered lazily. Comment on return to the clan. This is a 6-page chapter, it was hard to write. I'm waiting for feedback, surprised face. Time skip. First day at the academy Time skip. 4 years have passed since Uzumaki Naruto returned to his clan. He is 11 years old, by the way. All these years, the young head of the clan trained like hell. Every day he did difficult physical exercises, and from evening until morning he sat in the library of the Uzumaki clan, reading everything that came to hand. He played shogi with Hito, learned to throw shurikens and kunai. Studied kenjutsu, taijutsu, and for the last 6 months ninjutsu. His training was carried out by jounins, whom Hito persuaded. Namely Kakashi Hatake, Might Guy, and Asuma Sarutobi. Sometimes the elders of Konoha joined their training, namely Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen. All of the above helped Naruto in different areas. For example, Kakashi in the area of chakra control and lightning element. Dai in the area of taijutsu and physical training. Asuma and Danzo in mastering the wind element. And Hito in mastering the water element. By the way, Naruto has 3 elements, namely, lightning, wind and water. Uzumaki decided to put Fuin on his hands to use the last 2 elements, namely, fire and earth. Tomorrow to the academy? Naruto asked his guardian, finishing another training session. Over these 4 years, he has changed for the better or for the worse, decide for yourself. He has become more like his mother in her childhood. Muscular body, which was decorated with scars and tattoos in the form of a Fuin. Feminine facial contours, sorry for the tautology, broad in the shoulders. All the same hyacinth-colored eyes, dark purple, red hair, now reaching his shoulders, and tied in a high ponytail, a mustache on his cheeks. Naruto began to wear glasses, because his vision was not very good until he activated his eyes. Right eye -2, left -1. Yes, Hito answered him briefly and clearly. He hasn't changed a bit during this time. Still the same red hair down to his shoulders, purple eyes. Okay, then I'm going to get ready for tomorrow. Well, no books or books, said Uzumaki Jr. entering the house. Also, Naruto said the elder Uzumaki, calling the young head of the clan to him, if someone insults you or our clan, then I allow you to use force against this daredevil, Hito said seriously, to which he nodded. Entering the house, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki decided to take a shower. Afterwards, he decided to have a snack, because he hadn't eaten for a long time. Entering the kitchen, he opened the refrigerator and took out a package containing meat, and for dessert, he decided to eat a heart. After having a hearty dinner, Naruto prepared all the supplies for the academy, and sleepily went to bed, then went to sleep. Early in the morning, getting out of bed, Naruto went to the bathroom. Having done all his chores, the young head of the clan began his daily exercises. After warming up, Uzumaki slowly began to get ready, while putting the kettle on to brew coffee. The Jinchuriki took off his home clothes and began to tie his scarlet hair into 2 buns on the sides. He put on a dark red yukata with the Uzumaki clan emblem on the back, tied a blue bandage around his waist, and dark blue shinobi sandals on his feet. Now Uzumaki Naruto looks exactly like the wife of the first Hokage, Mito Uzumaki, his ancestor. He took a small bag and put it on his left shoulder. Uzumaki put notebooks, books, pens, etc. in there. Having finished preparing for the Shinobi Academy, Naruto went into the kitchen, made himself and his grandfather some coffee, and sat down at the table, starting to drink the hot drink. Hito entered the kitchen, sat down next to Naruto, and began to tell his instructions. The younger Uzumaki listened attentively and did not interrupt the elder. Having said goodbye to Hito, the boy slowly set off. Everyone in the Uzumaki quarter looked at the future leader with appraising, admiring, and interested eyes. Over these 4 years, everyone in the clan began to respect him. For never giving up, for always keeping his word, and for being kind to everyone, well, only to his clanmates. Arriving at the academy, an 11-year-old boy saw a building with the inscription "Fire" on the roof. Entering it, Uzumaki went to the class that his grandfather told him to come to at 8:15 in the morning. Meanwhile, in class, there was a wild buzz in the classroom. Almost all the children were talking, shouting, and not sitting in their seats. Silence. The teacher who had just entered shouted, sitting down at his desk, "Children, a new student will be coming to us today." A few minutes later, Irika, that was the name of the future teacher Uzumaki, so Yumino looked at his wristwatch and left the classroom. On behalf of the class, Irika called a cute girl with red hair tied in 2 buns into the classroom. She stood in front of the entire class. "Introduce yourself, please," said Yumina, looking at the newcomer. "Hello everyone. My name is Uzumaki Naruto," said the scarlet-haired man. "I can't say what I like and what I don't like. Hobby, reading. I don't have a dream. The goal is to become the head of the Uzumaki clan," Naruto continued, not showing any emotion. "Naruto? That's a boy's name, isn't it?" Menma Namikaze asked, standing up. The others nodded, asking silent questions. "Yes. I'm a guy," Uzumaki answered just as emotionlessly. "What?" The whole class shouted except for Irika, because he knew that Naruto was a guy. "Sit down in the empty seat, Naruto-kun," the teacher said in a friendly manner while the entire class was recovering from the shock. Naruto sat down on the 3rd desk of the middle row. Next to him sat 2 boys. One was constantly eating, and the other was constantly sleeping. Uzumaki decided to get to know his neighbors during the break. An hour later, the bell rang for recess. And Naruto decided to introduce himself to his deskmates. It turned out that their names were Choji Akimichi, the one who always eats, and Shikamaru Nara, the one who always sleeps. Suddenly, Menma and Naruko approached their desk. "Hey demon! You said you wanted to become the head of the Uzumaki clan?" asked the boy with light yellow hair. "I don't want to, but I will. Everything has already been decided, and the temporary head of the Uzumaki clan, Hito Uzumaki, said that I will become the next head," answered Naruto to the question of his brother. "Yes, Uzumaki knows who his parents are. I will become the head of the clan, me and no one else," shouting at the last words, Menma said, while Naruko stood and said nothing. "My mother said that I will become the head." "No. Your mother is no longer an Uzumaki, and now she has no right to interfere in the affairs of the clan that she herself abandoned," said the future head of the clan, getting up from his seat. He was taller than Menma and Naruko by half a head. "What? Do you even know who my father is?" Namikaze asked threateningly. "Didn't your mom tell you?" Naruto asked with a grin. "That's it, this conversation is over." Having said this, Uzumaki sat down at his place and continued chatting with his new friends. Menma wanted to do something, but Naruko pulled him away, because she, unlike her brother, understood that the scarlet-haired man was speaking from the facts. After all the lessons, Naruto left the classroom saying goodbye to his new friends, who were Shikamaru Nara, Akimichi Choji, Shino Aburame, Sasuke Uchiha, and Daichi Uchiha. As he was leaving the building, Uzumaki saw parents picking up their children. Shikamaru was being picked up by his mother, Sasuke was being picked up by his brother, and he felt sad. After standing there for a few minutes, Uzumaki headed towards the gate. "Hey you, tomato-haired," said the guy with black hair and the same eyes, turning to Naruto. "What?" Uzumaki said, already angry, because he didn't like it when people called him that. I heard you're cheeky, the guy said as he approached. 2 more boys were following him. When they approached, Naruto saw bandages on their foreheads. Any problems? Naruto asked, raising one eyebrow. Looks like we passed the genin exam today, Uzumaki thought to himself. It looks like it. The fox answered him in his subconscious. Baby, if anything, did you hear the words of old man Hito? To which he received a nod in his subconscious. We will punish you for such insolence, said the guy who approached forward, ordered his friends. Naruto reacted quickly, grabbing one by the collar and hitting him in the nose with his forehead. He fell from this and began to squeeze his nose, because blood was coming out of it. He hit the second one in the jaw, and in the solar plexus. He also fell, holding the place of the bruise. Quickly running up to their main one, he hit him in the Adam's apple. The guy, holding his throat, sat on his knees. With a quick movement, Naruto took a fishing line from his pocket and tied his hands. What are you doing? The guy asked hoarsely, sitting on his knees. Do you even know who I am? Slap. I don't care who you are, Uzumaki said, hitting him in the face with his palm. Slap. 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 The boy's mouth was already bleeding, but Naruto didn't dare stop. Uzumaki's classmates, their parents, and his friends were watching this whole fight. Everyone was stunned by what they saw. From Kushina's perspective, I came to the academy to pick up my children. Here they were, walking out with their class. I approached them and wanted to tell them to go home, but suddenly I heard something strange. Turning my head, I saw a girl with red hair. She looked like she was the same age as Naruto. She was fighting with 3 genin. A few moments later, I watched as she hit the last one in the face with her palm. Everyone else had the same feelings, not to mention the kids who were Uzumaki's classmates. They were afraid. Sasuke and his brother, Shikamaru and Choji with their mothers, Shino with his father, and Daichi watched this spectacle. From Naruto's perspective. Slap. Slap. The boy begged to let him go. It came to tears. No one stopped the fight, because the elders could not recover from the shock, and the children were afraid to approach. You still don't get it? Naruto asked with a grin on his face. If I see something like that again, I'll gouge your eyes out. With these words, Naruto let go of the genin's hair, and he fell to the ground. The left side of his face was swollen, and blood was coming out of his mouth, because his lower lip was split due to Uzumaki's blows. With a calm step, with his head raised, the Jinchuriki left the academy grounds and slowly walked to the Uzumaki quarter. Arriving home, where Hito was waiting. I told him everything that happened. About my class, about new friends, and about the fight with the genin. After talking a little more about various topics, Uzumaki Sr. left on business, and the younger one went to train with Kakashi-sensei. Commentary on timeskip. First day at the academy. Ooh. Oh. By the way guys, scenes with beating of genin can be seen in the manhwa called Weakest Hero. Read it, very interesting manhwa. This scene is right in the first chapter. How do you like the chapter? Waiting for your feedback, degree-degree. Also, please report bugs. Love breeds, hatred equals. It had been several months since Naruto had attended the Shinobi Academy. During that time, he had proven himself to be the best student of his age. Naruto had become friends with the rest of his class, except for a few. Everyone recognized him as a genius of his generation, except for arrogant kids like Menma, Naruko, and Hinata. They tried to interfere with his studies in every way, teasing him and challenging him to sparring. In the end, he ignored them or, as politely as he could, sent them away, and simply won the sparring matches dry. But even so, they continued their attacks. Also, Naruto began to feel sympathy for one person. Her name was Kamiko Senju. She was the daughter of Tsunade Senju and Jiraiya, 2 of the 3 Sannin of Konoha. She also returned his sympathy, and now for 5 days they have become a full-fledged couple. Today after the academy, Naruto went to visit his friend Shikamaru. He and 4 others from his class have already become best friends for Uzumaki. Naruto met the parents of his friends, except Daichi. He was an orphan, but was sometimes looked after by Shisui Uchiha and the family of the Uchiha clan leader. Uzumaki, Choji, and his mother spent time preparing various dishes. Shino and his father spent time studying bugs and poisons. With Shikamaru and his father, they spent time playing shogi, at a good level, and studying various types of strategy. Together with Sasuke, Daichi and his brother trained in mastering the element of fire. Naruto had a hard time with this element, because he was not predisposed to it, and thanks to the seals applied as tattoos from his wrist to his elbows, he could control them. But it consumed a lot of chakra, about 3 to 4 times more. After playing shogi for 2 hours with Shikamaru and Shikaku, his father, Naruto went to Kakashi. He hadn't trained much with Guy, now that he had a team. Uzumaki became friends with them, even though they were a year older than him, he got along well with them. Their names were Niji Hyuga, Tenten Takahashi, and Rock Lee. Arriving at his good old training ground number 3, Naruto saw his teacher. "Yo Kakashi-sensei," said Uzumaki, approaching Hitaki. "Hello," Naruto the silver-haired one greeted back, looking up from his book. "Yes, hi. What are we going to do today?" asked the red-haired man. "Well, you have good chakra control, and your physical form is normal. I would like to teach you my techniques," answered Kakashi's question. "I called them Raikiri and Chidori. Normal shinobi can't use them, because they require very good and fast reactions." "Or eyes," the copyist explained. "So you think my eyes are good for this?" asked the scarlet-haired man. "Yes. After all, your eyes are very similar to the Sharingan that I use for this technique." "So yes," Hitaki said to his student. "I see, when shall we begin?" Uzumaki asked, as he was eager to learn such a powerful technique. "Yes, right now, just start as usual with a warm-up," said the silver-haired man, starting to read his book again. After another warm-up, Uzumaki began to study his teacher's technique. For the entire day, he managed to release only a small grain of lightning, which greatly upset Naruto, but he did not give up. After training with Kakashi, the young Jinchuriki went to his clan. Arriving at his home, he immediately went to bed, because today was quite a busy day. Getting up early in the morning, Naruto immediately went to the bathroom and washed himself there. Afterwards, he collected all his things for going to the academy. Leaving the house and closing the door, he put the key under the mat so that old man Hito could come home and enter. And he walked slowly to the Shinobi Academy. By the way, Naruto now wore regular home clothes. That is, a gray t-shirt, a black jacket with red inserts on the sides and a zipper with the clan emblem on the back, and pants of the same design. Dark blue sandals. He no longer tied his hair, but simply let it down, and burgundy glasses completed it all. Arriving at his destination, Uzumaki saw a pink-haired girl named Sakura standing there with a bag of tomatoes, waiting for someone. "Apparently Sasuke is waiting," the scarlet-haired man thought with a grin. Flashback. One day, after training with Itachi, that was the name of Sasuke's brother, we decided to take a little walk around the village. During the walk, everyone looked at us, that is, at me, as if we were worthless and whispered. Sasuke, seeing this, asked me, "Naruto, is everything okay?" Uchiha asked with worry in his voice, seeing how I was looking at the villagers. "It's okay, Sasuke. Just because monkeys learn to talk doesn't mean you need to listen to them." Naruto answered his friend's question. Hearing this, Uchiha breathed a sigh of relief and they moved on. After walking for a while, the boys heard a girl arguing with someone. The duo decided to see what was going on. When they got closer, they saw 3 genin harassing a girl with pink hair and green eyes. The boys recognized her as their classmate named Haruna Sakura. She was desperately trying to get out of the grip of 2 of the 3 genin. Sasuke decided to help her, and ran at them at full speed. They in turn stood with their backs to the duo. Sasuke hit one in the side with a spin. He flew back a couple of meters from surprise. He hit the second in the ribs, he grabbed the bruises and was finished off by a stone that flew from Uzumaki. Uchiha wanted to hit the third in the jaw, but he blocked it and wanted to inflict a cutting wound with a kunai. Suddenly Naruto appeared behind the last genin, holding the enemy's hand with a cold weapon with one hand, and wrapping his other hand around his neck. Sasuke took advantage of the moment and knocked the genin out with a strong blow to the jaw. Sakura thanked them for their help and walked quickly to her home. End flashback. After that incident, Naruto and Sakura communicated well, but with Sasuke, the pink-haired girl behaved very strangely. She would blush, stutter when talking to Uchiha, or even faint. In short, Sakura has a character like Hinata in canon, but she will be stronger. Passing by Sakura, I greeted her and went to class. Everything in the class was as usual. Everyone was talking and shouting, as always. After school, Naruto went to get food, now not to the big cliff, but to Orochimaru's laboratory. Yes, they know each other and communicate very well. Hiruzen introduced them when he and Danzo came to visit Uzumaki. In the lab, Naruto was met by two silver-haired men named Kagaya Kimimaro and Yakushi Kabuto, Orochimaru's assistants. Oh? Hello, Naruto-kun greeted the scarlet-haired Kabuto. Kimimaro only nodded in greeting. Hello to you too, guys. Uzumaki greeted back. Is Orochimaru-san here? Yes, here. Answered the question of the scarlet-haired man, now Kimimaro standing nearby and silent all this time. He is talking with Hiruzen-san and Danzo-san. Okay then, I'm going, see you later. Having said this, Naruto walked on, waving his hand as a sign of forgiveness. Yes, for now. I heard from the silver-haired duo. Entering one of the rooms of the shelter, Naruto saw two elders and a snake Sannin. They were discussing something heatedly until Uzumaki arrived. Hello, Grandpa Hiruzen, Grandpa Danzo, Uncle Orochimaru. He greeted everyone with a joyful smile on his face. Oh, hello little Naruto, Orochimaru said in response, and the elders just nodded. I came for flesh. What are you discussing here? Asked Uzumaki. Ah, the flesh is on the table to your left. We were discussing the problem caused by Koharu and Hamura. The snake Sannin answered the scarlet-haired man's question. These old farts again, why can't they calm down? I guess I ruined their plans, Naruto said after thinking for a bit. That's exactly it. Danzo interrupted the dialogue. They are very angry with you and are looking for a solution to get rid of you. I understand, then I won't bother you. Having said this, Naruto took the bags with flesh and said goodbye to them as he left. Today Naruto woke up cheerful. He quickly got ready and went to the academy. His mood was higher than ever, because in a few days there was the exam for Genin, and today Uzumaki decided to give a gift for his other half. The gift was a pendant. On one side was the emblem of the Senju clan, and on the other, the emblem of the Uzumaki clan. Arriving at the academy, Naruto began to look for Kamika, but did not find him. Sensei called out to the class. In the whole class, only Kamiko Senju and Takashi Uchiha were missing. Very suspicious, Naruto thought, but didn't convey the meaning. After 5 hours of studying at the academy, Uzumaki said goodbye to everyone and went to look for his Kamiko. A 20-minute search yielded nothing, and Naruto decided to go to his and Kamiki's favorite place, Hokage Rocks. Arriving there, he saw his beloved with commentary on love breeds hate. Well, damn. In my opinion, this chapter is the most boring, and what do you think? As always, I'm waiting for feedback. Degree. Come up with a name yourself. I couldn't come up with one myself. Please report any bugs so I can fix them. Betrayal. Genin exam . Arriving there, Naruto saw his beloved with Takashi. Yes, with him, on the Hokage rock, on the head of the first, right on Uzumaki's favorite place. He was standing at a distance of 100 to 150 meters near the trees. Naruto himself stood rooted to the spot, because in front of him his beloved was kissing another guy. Uzumaki looked at this and his heart bled. He ran wherever his eyes looked. Jumping on the roofs of houses, Naruto began to breathe quickly, holding his heart. Naruto, calm down, the fox began to speak in his subconscious. You're hyperventilating, breathe deeply, just calm down. Inhale. Exhalation. Inhale. Exhalation. But Uzumaki didn't listen to him. He could barely stand on his feet. As a result, after a few meters he fell, slipping on the roof of an unfinished house. He fell right on one of the reinforcement bars. He was pierced in the area of the left side of his stomach. Inhale. Exhalation. Inhale. Exhalation. Damn, said Kurama, hitting the cage with his fist. Kid, calm down, you're losing blood. We need to get home. The fox still didn't calm down, but the young Uzumaki didn't hear him. The boy was still breathing heavily and slowly losing consciousness. Kurama had no choice but to take control of his Jinchuriki. The fox took control of the boy's body so that the sensors would not sense the Ninetales chakra. Kurama stood up carefully so that the reinforcement did not touch other organs and, holding his wound, walked as quickly as he could to the Uzumaki quarter. Almost reaching the clan, the Ninetales Jinchuriki had already lost more than half of his blood. The guards at the gate to the quarter saw Naruto and immediately ran to help him. A few minutes later, they had already reached the house of the future head of the clan and immediately knocked. Hito opened the door for them, seeing his successor in poor condition. He immediately let them in and went to the kitchen for a first aid kit. Uzumaki Sr. sent the guards off to do their business. While bandaging the wound, Hito learned from Kurama why his grandson was so injured. Yes, Kurama and Hito had known each other for a long time. Having tightly transported the bandages, the temporary head immediately went to the Konoha hospital to take blood from there and transfuse it into Naruto. Fortunately, our hero had 4 positive blood, which accepts all other blood types without harming the carrier. Arriving home, old man Hito began to slowly transfuse blood, because this matter does not require haste. In the morning Naruto woke up, he felt very bad. His whole body ached because of the Ninetales chakra, which Kurama himself used to control the body of Uzumaki Jr. Naruto himself couldn't move and could barely open his eyes. Already awake, said the fox in the subconscious, but Naruto didn't answer. Okay, I'm already healing your body, be patient for about an hour, said Kurama, realizing that Naruto didn't want to talk. An hour and a half passed, Uzumaki got out of bed and started to get dressed. Putting on his windbreaker, he found the same pendant in his pocket. Taking it in his hands, Naruto looked closely at the gift. And the gift was not cheap. Squeezing his palm tightly, Uzumaki heard the pendant crack. Opening his hand, he saw fragments, because the pendant was made of expensive glass material. Naruto threw the remains in the trash can and went to the bathroom to wash off the blood on his hand, and in general to wash himself. Coming to the bathroom, the boy began to wash himself. While he was washing himself, he saw himself in the mirror. There he saw himself, who looked pitiful. How pathetic I am, the guy said and hit the mirror, which in turn cracked, and blood began to flow from Uzumaki's right hand again. Naruto. Stop wasting your time. You remind me of that Hyuga who always whines over little things. Kurama said in his subconscious. Hearing these words, Uzumaki involuntarily remembered Hinata, who always whines and throws tantrums over all sorts of trifles. You're an Uzumaki, and Uzumaki shouldn't behave like that. Remember how you killed a Chunin when you were 7, even though he was drunk, but still, this has never happened to you before. And really, what am I doing? Naruto said, thank you Kurama, at least you're always with me, the scarlet-haired man said in his head, smiling. Don't be too upset about her, the nine-tailed fox began. Kurama, let's not talk about her, Naruto interrupted the fox, now I have to erase her from my life, from this moment on, we are nothing more than acquaintances, he said in his subconscious. Not friends, though? Kurama asked, grinning. Yes, not even friends, Naruto said out loud now. By the way, yesterday I asked your old man to excuse you from classes at the academy. Said the Ninetales, remembering yesterday's conversation, Kakashi will come for you in a couple of hours, by that time I will have you completely patched up. Okay, then I'll go eat, I've got an appetite, Naruto said as he got out of the bath. A couple of hours later, Uzumaki felt no pain in his entire body. As Kurama said, Kakashi came with Guy and called Naruto to training. At the good old training ground number 3. Well Naruto, tomorrow is your final exam, so show us what you learned training with us. Said the silver-haired one putting away the book, because he knew that Uzumaki is not to be trifled with. Show us your power of youth Naruto Kun. Guy shouted in his usual manner, getting into a fighting stance. Uzumaki started with taijutsu with might. He fought quite well and was even able to open the first and second gates. Such as Gate of Beginning and Gate of Healing, which Hatake was surprised at, because the same Naruto or Guy did not tell him that Uzumaki can open 2 of the 8 inner gates. After the taijutsu fight, Guy praised Naruto for his efforts and told him that his favorite student, Rock Lee, could also open 2 of the 8 gates. He even suggested that Naruto and Lee become eternal rivals, to which Uzumaki agreed. Kakashi, hearing the scarlet-haired man's agreement, made a facepalm gesture. Now it was Kakashi's turn. Uzumaki and Hatake stood opposite each other and began to form seals with great speed. Kakashi released Fireball at Naruto, to which he made Water Dome. After that, the silver-haired decided to start with trump cards, folding seals he made Raikiri, and his student did the same. They ran at each other and raised their hands with the technique forward, an instant and the teacher and student pierced each other's chest, and with a clap they disappeared. Well, you have all the skills of a Chunin, and maybe even a Jounin, and according to Shikaku-san, you're not bad at strategy, either, said Hatake, picking up his book. You're a generalist. That is, you can fight at close, medium, and long range. Finished Kakashi and walked away at a leisurely pace, waving one hand as a sign of farewell. Okay Naruto-kun, we'll see each other again, said Mato, and went after his eternal rival. Somehow we'll arrange a competition between teacher and student, said Guy, also waving his hand. Naruto did not linger and also went to his home. When he got home, he wanted to go to bed, but old man Hito called out to him. Naruto, come to the kitchen. The old man said, sipping freshly brewed tea. Naruto obeyed and went to the kitchen, brewed himself some coffee and sat down opposite Hito. I want to talk about yesterday's incident. Naruto silently sipped his coffee and listened attentively. So Naruto, as I already understood, your heart was broken, Uzumaki Sr. began, but seeing the twisted face continued, but that's not the point. The point is that at that moment you were morally weakened. And thanks to Kurama, we were able to save you. Save from whom? Asked Uzumaki Jr. From the elders and the civil council, who were trying to find a reason to execute you. So from now on, always be careful, Hito said, worried about his grandson, because if you die, then Menma Namikaze might be made the next head. And then the clan will finally fall. Okay, I understand you, Grandpa. I'll be careful now and there won't be any more emotional breakdowns, I promise you, Naruto said, hugging Hito. After this conversation, the 2 Uzumaki went to their rooms and went to bed. Naruto woke up early as usual and started to warm up. Then he went to the bathroom and washed himself thoroughly. After going back to his room, he got ready, got dressed and went to the Shinobi Academy to take the Genin exam. So he came to the gates of the academy and saw a sweet couple there, Kamiko and Takashi. Seeing Uzumaki, Senju broke free from the Uchiha's embrace and went towards Naruto. Naruto, we need to have a serious talk, she started the conversation. Naruto stood there at this time, looking at her with cold eyes and putting his hands in his pockets. I wanted to tell you this yesterday, but you didn't come. Anyway, we need to break up, she said and looked at her interlocutor, waiting for an answer, but none followed. I don't love you anymore. Takashi Uchiha asked me out and I agreed. Do you agree to remain friends? She looked at Naruto expectantly again, but he only yawned and walked past her, still not changing his face of indifference. Everyone who heard this conversation was shocked by Naruto's actions, and Kamiko herself was confused. Takashi, who also heard this conversation, was angry and shouted at Uzumaki, who was walking to his class. Hey, say something, or do you not care about Kamiko? The angry Uchiha asked Naruto. Who are you to ask me such questions? Uzumaki answered with a question, looking over his shoulder at the loving couple. Leave me alone. Naruto said indifferently. I'll kick you at the final exam for offending Kamiko, said Uchiha, looking with disdain at the scarlet-haired man walking into the building. Ha ha ha, hysterical laughter was heard from Uzumaki. What are you saying? Well, we'll see, Naruto said without turning around and continued walking to his class. The classroom was buzzing as usual, but now the kids were discussing what had happened that morning. When Naruto entered the classroom, everyone started whispering. He went to his seats. Sitting down at his desk, he told his friends that he was going to take a nap. Senju sat on one of the last desks, hugging Uchiha, and her morning conversation with Naruto kept coming back to her mind. Did he really know? Thought Kamiko, but from where? Or did someone tell him? Senju kept trying to understand. Finally, the teacher came and handed out sheets of paper with questions to the class and gave them 30 minutes to solve them. After the written test, the physical ones began. First, throwing kunai and shuriken. Menma namikaze, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Naruko namikaze, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Choji akimichi, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Shikamaru nara, 7/10, 6 out of 10. Sasuke Uchiha, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Daichi Uchiha, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Sakura Haruna, 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Ino Yamanaka, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Hinata Hyuga, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Takashi Uchiha, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Kamiko Senju, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Naruto Uzumaki, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Kiba Inuzuka, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Shino Aburama, August 10th, August 10th. I will not describe fights except Naruto Uzumaki's fight. Then the one-on-one fights began. One fight Shikamaru Nara and Kamiko Senju. Winner Kamiko Senju. Second fight Choji Akimichi and Shino Aburama. Winner, Shino Aburame. Third fight Kiba Inuzuka and Daichi Uchiha. Winner Daichi Uchiha. Fourth fight Naruko Namikaze and Hinata Hyuga. Winner, Naruko Namikaze. Fifth fight Menma Namikaze and Sasuke Uchiha. Draw. Sixth fight Ino Yamanaka and Sakura Haruno. Winner Sakura Haruna. Seventh fight Naruto Uzumaki and Takashi Uchiha. Two boys came out to the middle of the training ground. One was serious, he had black as night hair and eyes of the same color. The other was calm and showed no emotion, he had red as blood hair and dark violet eyes. After the start signal, Takashi rushed towards his opponent with a kunai on his hand. Naruto just stood there and watched the approaching kunai. Suddenly he grabbed Uchiha's hand and broke it. Yes, he broke it, because the crunch of bones was heard. No one expected this and everyone was in a state of shock. Then, taking Takashi by the neck, he lifted him up with one hand and threw him up, while preparing to strike. Leaf Whirlwind was heard from Uzumaki. Naruto hit Uchiha with a spin. He was about to fly over the line, which would mean victory for the scarlet-haired one, but he wanted to have some more fun. Right in front of the line, the young Jinchuriki grabbed Takashi by the leg and threw him over himself. Uchiha stood up with his last strength and wanted to say something, but he was interrupted. Well, who kicked who? The scarlet-haired man said with a mocking voice. You won't get away with this, the brunette said faintly. I am the nephew of the head of the Uchiha clan. I don't care who you are. Answer for your words. Or did you want to seem cool in front of Kamiko, said Naruto, then began to laugh hysterically. God, you're pathetic. Having said the last words, Naruto repeated the leaf whirlwind technique with a turn and sent Takashi outside the circle. The teacher declared Naruto the winner, and his classmates looked at him with respect. No one respected Takashi, because he was a famous chatterbox of the academy, and no one pitied him, except Kamiko. Naruto, you're not my friend anymore, Kamiko said with tears in her eyes, running up to the Uchiha's unconscious body. Oh no, we're not friends anymore. Naruto said playfully. I'll either throw myself off my chair or cut my veins with a spoon. Uzumaki finished and looked skeptically at one of the last members of the Senju clan. After the one-on-one fights, everyone went into the classroom and got their protectors. Naruto tied his protector on his left side. So children, I wish you good luck, because you will have to walk the thorny path of a shinobi, said Irika and wiped away tears of joy. I am proud to have been your teacher. Now that you have received your leaf protectors, you are officially considered shinobi. Tomorrow at 10:30 come to be distributed into teams. Having said this, Irika sent everyone home. Commentary on betrayal, Genin exam. Under the previous part you wrote more than 80 reviews, which made me very happy. I hope this part will be discussed, as well as the previous one. As always, I look forward to your feedback. Report bugs, W. Distribution. New friend . After Yamana finished his speech, he sent everyone home. Naruto and his company, which consisted of Sasuke, Daichi, Shikamaru, Choji, Shino, Kiba, Sakura, and Ino, decided to go to some cafe. When they arrived, they celebrated passing the exam for Genin. After a 2-hour mini-party, everyone left. Naruto was slowly walking home when suddenly a girl of 16 to 18 years old flies to meet him and spills her drink on him. "Oh, I'm sorry, it was an accident," she said and began to wipe the spilled juice from her clothes. "Oh, come on, don't," said Uzumaki and began to move away from the girl. "I'll clean everything myself." "Sorry. Let me buy you some coffee?" she said and smiled sweetly. "Naruto, be careful, she is not who she claims to be. I sense bloodlust, contempt, hatred from her," Kurama said. "I see, so the elders have decided to act," thought the scarlet-haired man and grinned. "Okay, I agree," the Jinchuriki answered out loud. They went to the nearest coffee shop, and Shirtori, as the girl introduced herself, bought Naruto coffee and they decided to take a walk around the outskirts of the village. While walking, Uzumaki was on guard. When they had already gone further from the village, Shirtori began a conversation. "You know Naruto-kun, to be honest I hate you," she said and took out a katana and delivered a cutting blow right to the neck. "But it turned out to be a clone of the scarlet-haired one, so you knew?" The girl screamed angrily. "That you came to kill me?" "Yes, and that you are from those old farts, I also know that." Uzumaki's voice was heard from everywhere. "I will find you and kill you as painfully as I can." Shirtori was already screaming hysterically. Afterwards, 3 clones of the scarlet-haired man emerged from the bushes holding the same Tonto he had found 5 years ago. A battle ensued in which the Uzumaki clones fought equally with the girl, due to their quick reaction and their eyes, which show the enemy's weak points and his movement in slow motion. After a couple of minutes of such a fight, Naruto decided to kill her. Right under Shirtori, hands appeared and grabbed her legs. 2 more clones came out of the tree foliage along with Naruto himself. The copies and the original struck with Tonto and all of them pierced the girl's body. She knelt down. The original took her head off with the last blow. "You picked the wrong guy," Uzumaki said to the already lifeless body. The scarlet-haired man searched the body and found her documents. "Shirtori you detain, then." Naruto thought, is she really a relative of that old hag named Koharu? The young Jinchuriki said with a grin. Having removed all traces of himself, Naruto quickly ran home. The next morning, Koharu Udatane's house. One of the village elders was sitting in the kitchen drinking tea when suddenly one of her umbu appeared next to her. Koharu-sama having said this, the umbu knelt down. "Your granddaughter's dead body was found on the outskirts of the village with numerous cuts. No trace of the killer was found." The old woman, hearing the report from the umbu, dropped the cup from her hands and it broke. "You can go," Koharu said dejectedly. The ambu disappeared and the old hag was left alone. "Demon, you will die more painfully than my granddaughter," Udatane thought to herself. Morning at the Shinobi Academy. The whole class was sitting waiting for their teacher to learn their commands. Then the door opened and the teacher walked in with a girl their age. "Hello, students. We have a new student, that is, a graduate. Her name is Amiyuki. She was homeschooled and came to the academy once a month," said Irika as he entered the classroom. "Hello everyone, my name is Amiyuki, nice to meet you. I like ice and eating all kinds of delicious food. I don't like arrogant people. I don't have a dream, my goal is to make lots and lots of friends," she said and smiled sweetly. She had brown hair, a bob haircut, a sweet face, emerald eyes. A nice and slender figure, size 1 breasts, if anyone is interested, and was quite tall. "Okay, it looks like Shikamaru had some business to do and didn't show up, so you can take his place," Irika said after thinking for a bit. The girl nodded and went to the indicated place. Sitting down next to Uzumaki, she decided to start a conversation. "Hello Naruto-kun," Ami said friendly. "Hello, have we met?" Uzumaki asked, since he was seeing her for the first time. "Yes. We grew up in the same orphanage, but I wasn't allowed to talk to you," she said and became a little sad. "It's okay, now we have plenty of time to get to know each other," Naruto replied in a friendly manner, since her feelings of friendship were sincere. By the way, Naruto can use empathy, but somehow, Kurama helped him in training for several days. "Okay, silence," shouted Yumina, grabbing for the sheet of paper. "I'm starting to announce the commands. All the children pricked up their ears. Listen carefully. Team 6, Takashi Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha, Kamiko Senju, Mentor Obito Uchiha. Team 7, Menma Namikaze, Naruto Namikaze, Sakura Haruno, Mentor Kushina Namikaze. Team 8, Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburama, Hinata Hyuga, Mentor Kurina Yuhi. Team 10, Eino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, Mentor Asuma Sarutobi. Team 11, Daichi Uchiha, Ami Yuki, Naruto Uzumaki, Mentor Kakashi Hatake. Your teachers will arrive in a few minutes, said Irika. That's it, I'm leaving, good luck to you. Having finished this, Yumina left the classroom. Wow. Kid, you have a good team, and Kakashi is your mentor. Luck just flows from you, Kurama said, laughing. Yeah, at least I was lucky here, Naruto said in his subconscious. Team 7, 8, 10 had already been picked up by their mentors, and Team 6 and 11 had been waiting for 2 hours already. Takashi was furious, and Kamiko sat calmly next to him, but inside she already hated her mentor. And Sasuke, Daichi, Ami, and Naruto were having fun playing different board games, such as cards or dice. The boys had already become friends with Yuki. Here finally came their mentors. Hey guys, sorry for being late, a black cat crossed the road, we had to go around it. Obito and Kakashi said in unison. Well, I'm not surprised in principle. Naruto said, looking skeptically at Hatake. Okay, enough talking, said Kakashi. Everyone to the roof, it's hot here, and disappeared into the shunshin together with Obito. The children walked slowly to the roof. Why hurry? When they arrived, they saw that their mentors were sitting on the railings. The teams came up and sat down opposite them. Well, let's begin. Tell us about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, hobbies, dreams and goals, said the silver-haired man, putting away his book. Obito nodded in agreement. Set an example. Kamiko said. My name is Kakashi Hatake. I am a jounin of the village hidden in the leaves. What I like and don't like will not be interesting to you. I have no dreams. Goals? Hobby, reading. Hatake finished. Everyone except Naruto and Obito looked at Kakashi skeptically, but said nothing. My name is Obito Uchiha. I am a jounin of the village hidden in the leaves. I love one girl, I don't like traitors and following senseless orders. I have no dreams, my goal is to become Hokage. Hobbies, dancing. Uchiha finished, hesitating a little. Now you, he said, and pointed at one of the brunettes. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, genin of the village hidden in the leaves. I like tomatoes, and one person, the brunette said, blushing a little. I don't like arrogant and hypocrites. The goal is to become as strong as my brother, there is no dream. Hobby is training with Daichi and Naruto. Now my name is Takashi Uchiha, genin of the village hidden in the leaves. I like Kamiko and fruits. I don't like Naruto and his friends. My dream is to become the strongest shinobi of the village. The goal is to humiliate one person. Having said this, he looked at Uzumaki, which everyone noticed. And the scarlet-haired one smiled at him. No hobby. My name is Kamiko Senju, genin of the village hidden in the leaves. I love Takashi and violets. I don't like traitors and hypocrites. My dream is to become as strong a kunoichi as my mother Tsunade Senju. My goal is to help people. My hobby is training. Hello everyone, my name is Daichi Uchiha, genin of the village hidden in the leaves. I like peaches, tea, and recently fell in love with one girl. A quick glance at Ami. I don't like cabbage. The goal is to become a strong shinobi and help my friends. The dream is to marry a beautiful girl. Hobbies, training with Naruto and Sasuke. Wow, what a strange specimen, thought Kakashi and Obito. My name is Ami Yuki, genin of the village hidden in the leaves. I like ice and good food. I don't like arrogant people. I don't have any dreams. My goal is to make lots and lots of friends. My hobby is making ice sculptures. I'm left, said the scarlet-haired man. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, genin of the village hidden in the leaves. I like fresh flesh. No one understood this phrase except Sasuke, Daichi, and Kakashi. I don't like arrogant people and liars. Hobby, reading. The goal is to become the head of the Uzumaki clan. The dream is to make peace in the whole world. Well, since we've met, tomorrow you have a survival test, Obito said in a teacher's tone. Obito, I won't check them, I see that my team is better coordinated than yours. So I pass, said Kakashi, picking up his favorite book. Okay, then my team tomorrow at 7 o'clock come to training ground number 5. Having said this, he said goodbye and disappeared into the Shunshin. So my team, tomorrow we have a simple training, come closer to noon. Having finished, Kakashi also disappeared into the Shunshin. After meeting, Takashi and Kamiko went for a walk around the village, and Sasuke, Daichi, Naruto and Ami went to Ichiraka Ramen to get to know each other better. There they sat until the evening and talked about various topics. Now Uzumaki had a new friend. Naruto told her about his genome and that he was not like everyone else, because he did not feel any negative emotions from her. Team 11 were doing D-rank missions together. Team 6 had barely passed the survival test, and now they were doing missions too. Commentary on distribution. New friend. Here is the new part. As always, I'm waiting for feedback, Please report any bugs so I can fix them. Equals 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 a big loss equals 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 equals. A month has passed since the young genin started to carry out missions, especially those of D rank. Today, the Hokage decided to give Team 11 a C rank mission, because they were the strongest team. They completed their missions quickly and efficiently. Hello Team 11, the 4th Hokage greeted the genin and their mentor. Today I will give you a mission of a higher rank, Minato said, and began to look for the scroll. Having found another scroll with the task, Namikaze handed it over to the team commander and they left. When everyone except the Hokage left the office, the 4th began to curse himself for not being able to bring his son back because of the elders. Yes, he was still trying to bring Naruto back. Team 11 completed a mission to escort a caravan of merchants to a neighboring village. Afterwards, they returned to Konoha. Arriving in Leaf, Daichi and Ami went home and Uzumaki began a conversation with Kakashi. Hey Kakashi-sensei. Do you know anyone from the torture department? Naruto said while reading a book called Come Tactics that he recently purchased from a bookstore. Yes, why do you need it? Answered the silver-haired man, reading the same book as his student. Yes, I would just like to work there too, gain experience, said the scarlet-haired man, turning to the next page. HM? Do you like torturing people? Hataki asked the question of interest and looked at his student. Well, I wouldn't say so, but it wouldn't hurt in life, said Uzumaki, looking at his teacher and smiling stupidly. Okay, let's go to the eastern part of Konoha, said Kakashi, jumping onto a tree. Okay, Naruto said and repeated the silver-haired man's actions. They walked along the upper tracks and got there in 10 minutes. Hataki and Uzumaki got to the place where there was a huge building, and it was Konoha Prison. There were very strict guards there. The teacher and the student entered the building and found 2 people who were sitting and drinking tea in one of the offices. Hello, Ibiki, Anko Hataki greeted his fellow jounin. Ibiki was a tall man, with a strong build and scars all over his face. He wore a black cloak and a standard jounin vest underneath. He wore a leaf forehead protector on his head like a bandana. Anka was short, with a slender figure. Her hair was purple, and she had a beautifully contoured face. She wore a dark gray short cloak, with a mesh shirt underneath that showed off her curves. She had a leaf forehead protector on her forehead. Hello, Marino answered with a stone face. Hey, hi Kakashi, Mitarashi said happily. When Anko greeted Hataki, he in turn blushed a little, which Naruto noticed and smirked evilly in his thoughts. And who is that next to you? Asked the violet-haired girl. This is my student, his name is Naruto Uzumaki. He wants to learn how to torture people here. Kakashi said. What? Torture? The silent Ibiki was surprised. And why do you need this? Well, it's just Uzumaki said after thinking for a bit. I don't know why, but I want to learn this business, Naruto said, already smiling sadistically. Ha, the eternally sullen overseer began to laugh, to which Kakashi and Anko were surprised, because it was the first time they saw Ibiki laugh. I see you have sadistic traits, okay, I will train you, said Morio, smiling just like the scarlet-haired one. Hey kid, I see that you have interested the eternally sullen Ibiki. If he will teach you, then I will teach you too. Mitarashi said, pointing at herself with her thumb and winking. Another month has passed. Uzumaki was on missions from morning until noon, and from noon until late evening he trained with Kakashi and Guy or with Ibiki and Anko. Now the scarlet-haired one has his own set of tools for torturing people. During this time, Naruto and his team completed about 40 D rank, 19 C rank, and 1 B rank missions. This month was quite eventful. On one of the missions, Uzumaki fought with a missing nin with swords and broke his favorite tanto. After the Jinchuriki's weapon was broken, Daichi gave him a new dagger the next day. It looked like it was not cheap. Naruto was very happy with this gift. Today, Team 11 was called to the residence to be given another C rank mission. "Greetings, Team 11, the 4th Hokage said sleepily. "Hello," the Genins answered in chorus. Here Minato said and gave the scroll to Kakashi. "You must find 2 missing nin of rank C. They should be on the outskirts of the country of fire. This is a mission for a week," said the 4th, rubbing his eyes. "Okay, we'll set out in an hour near the gate," Hataki said and disappeared into the Shunshin. Yes, the Genin said in unison again and also disappeared into the Shunshin, which greatly surprised the Hokage. Naruto came to his house and started to get ready. He took 30 kunai and shuriken, another 10 kilograms of flesh, explosion tags and many other things and sealed it all in his scrolls. An hour later, everyone was ready at the gate and slowly walked along the upper paths. They reached the village on the outskirts of the fire country in 2 days, where the nuke nin were supposedly. Kakashi went to the local bar to find out more about his goals, while the Genin remained in the hotel. After learning that the missing nin were on the outskirts of the village, the team decided to split up, with Kakashi and Ami heading to the eastern part of the outskirts, and Daichi and Naruto heading to the western part. The duo of guys were walking slowly through the forest and talking about something, but they were on guard. Suddenly, 2 people in gray robes and masks on their faces came out from behind the bushes. Naruto and Daichi realized that these were their targets and prepared for battle. The nuke nin also stood up when they saw the 2 shinobi. Daichi decided to attack first using Great Fireball, but the shinobi, without losing their heads, used Water Wall and blocked their view. Naruto took advantage of this and decided to attack from behind. But they were skilled swordsmen and were able to block the blow with a dagger. Uzumaki decided to kill them and activated his eyes along with his Kagun. Suddenly, another shinobi appeared behind Naruto and the scarlet-haired one pierced his chest. After looking around, the guys realized that they were surrounded. Ambush, they both thought and stood back to back. A middle-aged man with a mustache came out to meet them. And who do we have here?" said the man looking at the Genin brats from Konoha. "What do you want here?" he asked and without waiting for an answer said, "Kill them." Uzumaki and Uchiha were attacked by about 24 missing nin, who were not lower than B rank, and even A rank. Naruto fought his opponents with his Kagun, but they began to channel chakra through their weapons, and the Kagun, oddly enough, became less useful. Daichi fought with his one-man Sharingan and fire techniques, but that didn't help much either, since they were up against experienced ninja. So Uzumaki created 10 clones and sent 5 of them to the Sharinganastum, and the other 5 began to hold off the missing nin until the original gave a signal for help. The real Naruto launched a ball of lightning into the sky and it exploded when it reached the clouds. Since it was already night, the technique shone very brightly. On the other side of the village, Hataki and Yuki were still wandering around looking for any information about the missing nin. Suddenly, they saw a ball of lightning that exploded and lit up the entire village. Kakashi and Ami realized that their comrades were in trouble and quickly ran in the direction from which the technique was released. There were 2 guys standing on the battlefield, and in front of them were about 24 missing nin. Some of them were seriously injured, some were killed. Daichi and Naruto were breathing heavily. They were all standing on a small lake that they had come across when the Genin duo was retreating. They were outnumbered, and Naruto was injured, and Daichi was chakra depleted. Uzumaki activated his eyes and Kagun again and attacked his opponents. He killed those who were not yet ready for battle, cutting off their limbs, including their heads. "Naruto, watch out, from below!" Fox warned the scarlet-haired man. Uzumaki jumped up and kicked one of the missing nin to the side. "Help Uchiha, he has little chakra and can barely hold up against 2, Kurama said from the subconscious. Naruto turned his head and saw Daichi. With a pierced chest, and behind him stood the same mustachioed man with a sword in his hand, who pierced the Uchiha. For Uzumaki, it was as if time stopped. He remembered all the moments from his life with Daichi. Suddenly Naruto appeared next to the same man and with a strong blow to the stomach sent him back 20 meters. He approached the half-dead body of his friend and sat down next to him holding him in his arms. "Naru, take care of Amy." The Uchiha barely spoke. "Shut up, you will survive, just don't talk." The scarlet-haired man spoke with bloody tears. "I don't have much time left. I can feel it. You promise that you'll take care of Ami?" Daichi said, choking on his own blood. I promise," said the still crying scarlet-haired man. Here, the Uchiha's hand, with which he held Naruto's neck, hung. Uzumaki roared. 10 Kagun and 12 Biju chains came out of his back. They flew in different directions, breaking through everything in their path. In just a few moments, almost all the missing nin were dead. The lake where the shinobi were fighting turned blood-red. Screams of pain and despair could be heard throughout the forest. Hatake and Yuki heard the scream and headed in that direction. When they arrived, they saw the chains and Kagun of their comrade, in the points of which were the dead bodies of missing nin. They saw Naruto sitting on his knees and crying bloody tears, with the body of the Uchiha lying in his arms. Seeing this picture, the brown-haired and silver-haired fell into a stupor. Ami, coming closer to Uzumaki, also began to cry, and Kakashi stood aside and cursed himself for not having made it to his students. It was already early morning, but no one was asleep yet. Uzumaki stood in front of the same mustachioed missing nin, who was tied in the middle of 2 large trees. He was tied in the shape of a star. Kakashi was digging a hole to bury his student. Ami was washing the body of the dead Daichi. "Hey guy, wait, don't kill me," said the Nukenem whose name was Kurandaiku. But Naruto didn't listen to him. He was looking at the dagger Daichi had given him. He looked at it for about 15 minutes, then ordered his clones, who had tied up Kuran, to bring 2 canisters of flammable oil. "Wait, no need. I'll give you money, a lot of money, just don't kill me," the Nukenin said, still praying. "I don't need your money, I need the name of the one who ordered to kill us," said Uzumaki, taking out a lighter. "His name is Gato, a big businessman. He ordered us to kill you," said Daiku, frightened by the lighter. After Kuran told the alabaster-haired man what he needed to know, his clones began to pour flammable oil on the missing nin. Finally, they forced him to drink the oil. Daiku tried to get out, but it was all in vain. Naruto lit a lighter and threw it at the missing nin, who began to burn and scream in pain. Ami and Kakashi knew what Uzumaki was doing and did not try to stop him, because they did not care about this man. They were just doing their own thing. The Nukenin burned for about an hour and then went out. All this time Naruto watched him and smiled. Here Team 11 buried their comrade. They placed a stone over his grave with the inscription Daichi Uchiha. "The job is done," said the masked man, standing on top of the mountain and looking at where the Uchiha's body was now being buried. "Everything went like clockwork," the plant-like creature said. It had aloe leaves on its sides, and it was half black and half white. "Let's go," said the mask maker, falling into the ground. The creature repeated after him. Comment on the big loss. Here is the new part. Straight face. "Guys, my internet limit has run out, now I will go online very rarely, connecting to Wi-Fi on other phones. Please report any bugs so I can fix them. Uzushio. Mission to the Land of Waves Part 1 A week has passed since Daichi was killed. Nothing has changed in the village. In the house of the head of the Uzumaki clan. "Hey Grandpa, do you happen to know my genome technique?" Naruto asked while drinking coffee. "Unfortunately, no, but there should be in Uzushio," said Hito, reading the newspaper. "Then I'll have to visit the Whirlpool village," Uzumaki Jr. said, standing up from his seat. "I'll go with you too, otherwise you might get lost," Uzumaki Sr. also said, standing up. Naruto and Hito set out on their journey. But Kakashi and Ami decided to join them. Almost the entire team of 11 and the temporary head of the clan asked the Hokage for permission to leave and set out. They walked for about a week and finally reached the ruins of a village hidden in a whirlpool. Having reached their destination, everyone began to look for scrolls, records, documents, and the like. They spent 6 days in Uzushio. During this time, the guys found various scrolls with seals and techniques. Naruto began to study the techniques of the first Uzukage. He could now partially cover his body with a Kagun, and also separate it from his body. And several techniques that he would study later, because he had difficulty with these anyway. He also found a scroll with which he could open Kurama's seal. Eventually Naruto opened the seal. Now the fox can leave the Uzumaki's body, only in a small form. After training with Naruto, Old Man Hito gave Team 11 a tour of the sights of Uzushio. It took another day. And now, after a week in the village of the Whirlpool, the four set out. They got to Konoha in a week and a half, because they decided to see the cities and villages along the way, a kind of mini-trip. Back in Leaf, everything was back to normal. Kakashi, Ami, and Naruto were on missions of varying ranks. Hito was doing clan business. Everything was as usual. One more thing, sometimes when there were easy missions, a girl would join Uzumaki's team instead of the late Daichi. She was the same age as Naruto and Ami. Her name was Aoi Shiro. Aoi is her first name, Shiro is her last name. She was slightly shorter than Ami, had a cute face, and an even tan all over her body. She had brown hair and brown eyes. As already mentioned, she only carried out D-rank missions, no more, and was the third member of Team 11. Temporary. Until the Chunin exam. On one of the missions Naruto had a severe headache and his nose started bleeding. Thinking that it was some kind of coincidence, Uzumaki didn't pay attention to it. But the pain repeated itself, and now blood was coming from his mouth. Jumping on tree branches, the scarlet-haired man fell from pain in his head and his nose started bleeding again. Kakashi and Ami, seeing this not for the first time, decided that this was some serious crap. Team 11 was far from Konoha, so they decided to visit the nearest town and go to the hospital there. The shinobi came to the city and immediately began to look for a hospital. Having found it, they immediately went in there. "Hello, doctor. My student has a severe headache and blood is coming from his mouth and nose. Do you know what this is connected with?" asked Kakashi, worried about Uzumaki. "I can guess what kind of illness it is from the symptoms, but let's still check it with a tomograph," said the doctor. "Well, let's imagine that there is a tomograph in the Naruto universe." An hour-and-a-half examination and nervous Ami and Kakashi. The tests were already ready and everyone gathered in the doctor's office. "Just as I thought," said the doctor, entering the office and sitting down at his desk. "You have hashtag at $/ plus hashtag _ dash pi equals. This is a very serious and fatal disease." "Deadly?" the three shinobi said in unison. "Yes, and you have hashtag / plus and $degree $$ copyright times divided by," said the doctor. "I'm very sorry, I can't help you, and no one can. If you take these medicines, then maybe you will increase your life expectancy," said the doctor, and gave a sheet of paper with the names of the medicines. "I see Naruto," said Kakashi. "Sensei, you know what to do," Uzumaki said, walking towards the door. Ami followed him. "Yes. Doctor, look at me," said Kakashi. After saying this, the doctor looked at the copycat's face and fell into a genjutsu. Inside the genjutsu, Kakashi erased the moments of their stay in the hospital and disappeared into the shunshin. Author, ask why Kakashi erased the doctor's memory? Because if the Konoha authorities find out that their weapon is seriously ill, then this will be another reason to kill Naruto and seal the Nine Tails into some umbu who serves these same authorities. One day, Team 7 and their mentor Kushina Uzumaki were standing in the Hokage's office. "So Team 7, here's your mission," said the fourth, giving the scroll to the commander, but Menma took it away and began to read. "Weeding the garden?" said Namikaze Jr., looking angrily at his father. "Give us something of a higher rank, otherwise I'm tired of these easy missions." "Menma, don't point fingers at me, I'm the fourth Hokage here, not your father," Minato shouted angrily. "Darling. That is, Hokage, you yourself can give us a C-rank mission. I think that my team can already carry out such missions." Kushina said, looking at the elder Namikaze. Menma and Naruto nodded at their mother's words, and Sakura just stood there. Okay, but this won't be a simple C-rank mission. You'll be doing it with Team 6. The Hokage said, looking at them seriously. Raven Minato said, and an Umbu in a raven mask appeared to his right. Tell Team 6 to come here, and the Umbu disappeared in a whirlwind of leaves. 10 minutes later, there were already 2 teams standing in the Hokage's office. Team 7, their mentor and commander Kushina Uzumaki, and Team 6, but without their mentor, who was Obito Uchiha. So Team 6 and 7, you need to escort the bridge builder to the Land of Waves. You might be attacked by bandits on the way, said the fourth. Call Tazuna-san. Minato shouted. A man of about 45 to 50 years old entered the office. He had gray hair and a beard. He was dressed in a green sleeveless sweater and gray pants. On his feet were ordinary sandals, and on his head was a straw hat. He had a bottle of sake in his hand, and he smelled strongly of fumes. And these children will accompany me? The bridge builder barely managed to say. What? Who are you calling kids? Menma and Takashi started getting worked up. Silence! Minato shouted, and everyone fell silent. Tazuna-san, Kushina Uzumaki is with you, one of the elite jounin, and with her 6 genin who wished to gain experience in battle. Namikaze was already speaking quietly. Okay, in an hour, near the gate, said Tazuna, leaving the office. An hour later, everyone except the customer was standing near the gate to the village. The customer had arrived, and now Team 6 and 7 were on their way. In front of the bridge builder were Menma and Takashi, on the right were Naruto and Sakura, on the left were Kamiko and Sasuke, and bringing up the rear was Kushina. They walked for about 2 days, when suddenly Kushina noticed a puddle and thought it was strange. As the shinobi passed by her, 2 missing men in black robes and iron masks jumped out from there. The mentor of Team 7 did not lose her head and quickly blocked the chains with which the duo wanted to tear Tazuna apart. Namikaze Sr. made 2 clones and sent them to the missing men, and she began to fold the seals. A moment and the shinobi are already unconscious. Tazuna decided to tell everything, about how the Wave Country lives under Gado's oppression, and that he lowered his rank because he didn't have enough money. Kushina wanted to abandon the mission, but Teams 6 and 7 decided to continue. The scarlet-haired one agreed, but on the condition that she call for reinforcements. After writing everything in a scroll, Kushina sent the letter via post-eagle. Having tied 2 nuke to the tree trunk, the teams began to wait for help. Team 11 stood in the Hokage's office, a little battered, because they had just come from a mission. The fourth himself was irritated. Good job, Minato said after reading the mission report. Aoi can go, and Team 11 stay behind, Namikaze said with a frown. Aoi, as the Hokage told her, went home, and the rest stayed. In general, you are going to help Teams 6 and 7. The customer indicated the wrong mission rank. In fact, it is rank A. Having said this, the fourth took out the letter sent by Kushina. Yes, they all said in unison and disappeared into the Shunshin. 10 minutes later they were already running along the upper tracks towards the Land of Waves. Commentary on Yuzushio. Mission to the Land of Waves Part 1. Here is the new part, _. Please report any bugs so I can fix them. Mission to the Land of Waves Part 2 Commentary on Mission to the Land of Waves Part 2. Sorry that there hasn't been a new part for so long, because I was very sick, and still am. And another reason is that I'm a lazy ass and all I did while I was sick was read manga, and not write a new part and get treatment, _. As always, I'm waiting for feedback on this part, frustrated face. Please report any bugs so I can fix them. Team 6 and 7 set up camp and went to bed after a hearty dinner. Sakura, Kamiko, and Kushina went to sleep in one tent, the customer went to sleep in a separate one. Sasuke and Takashi went to sleep together in one tent, and Menma and Naruto went to sleep in the last one. Early in the morning, the commander of the 7th team got up and went to a small river, which was located more than 50 to 80 meters from the shinobi camp. Suddenly, she sensed 3 chakra points rapidly approaching the camp. Namikaze immediately rushed towards the genin. Arriving there, she saw Team 11. The commander of Team 7 sighed with relief and began to approach them. Team Kakashi was irritated, which was noticed by the bloody Abaneri. They had red eyes from lack of sleep and a slightly shabby appearance. Even the eternally calm Hataki himself was irritated, because he and his students had not slept for 3 days carrying out a mission, and were immediately sent on another task. Suddenly Kakashi, Naruto, and even Ami took out books. Apparently they decided to distract themselves, at least with something. The silver-haired and scarlet-haired were reading a work called Come Tactics, a new volume. Apparently, Ami was reading a book about the adventures of one wanderer. "Hello, Team 11, you came quickly," said Kushina, coming closer and looking closely at everyone. "Yes, we were just walking along the upper paths," Hataki said without looking up from his book. "Your students can walk on vertical surfaces?" the elder Namikaze asked in surprise. Yes, the entire 11th team answered in unison. The conversations also woke up the others. Menma and Takashi immediately started making faces when they saw Naruto. Sasuke and Sakura were happy that their friends had arrived. Kamiko was surprised to see Uzumaki, and Naruto. She didn't care. "What are you doing here, demon?" Menma asked, almost screaming. "It's obvious that we're reinforcements," Naruto replied irritably. "What? Reinforcements? What are you talking about?" Takashi began to be indignant. "Reinforcements should arrive here in a day and a half. And what can you do anyway?" Uchiha asked in a mocking tone. Kushina wanted to stop the genin squabble, but Ami's hand stopped her. "Listen here, you piece of shit, Naruto couldn't take it anymore. My team and I haven't slept for 3 days, chasing the missing nin. And we've lost a lot of chakra in the process, and after the mission is over, they immediately send us to help you." Uzumaki was already screaming. "We ran for 12 hours along the upper tracks, all fucking night. And you dare complain? Keep in mind that if you yelp at me or my friends again, I swear I'll kill you right here and now." Naruto was activating his eyes, "and I won't even flinch." After these words, Takashi and Menma fell silent. Naruto began to read his book again. The other genin were surprised to hear this, and decided not to disturb them. Half an hour later they were ready and set off. Everyone walked quietly and did not talk to anyone. 5 hours passed as the shinobi and the customer walked along the road until 10 bandits blocked their path. "Hey guys," one of them, apparently the main one, began. "Give us this old man." He pointed his finger at Tazuna. "And we won't touch you." "God, how banal," Naruto said, looking up from his book. His teammates repeated after him. "Bandits, and they even give a chance at life. Banality just oozes from you." "Well, I'll get straight to the point," the scarlet-haired man said. While Naruto was talking to the bandits, Kakashi and Ami stayed out of the conversation, knowing what was going to happen next. Kushina listened attentively to their dialogue, and Teams 6 and 7 did not dare to speak. "I'll give you a chance to leave," Uzumaki said seriously. "Ha, ha, ha," the robbers began to laugh. "What can you do, pathetic child?" said the very same chief. "I warn you," Naruto continued. "What are you going to do to us?" shouted another robber. Kakashi and Ami were already burying the people standing right in front of him. The other genin and Kushina did not understand the meaning of what the Jinchuriki said. "A warning for the last time," Naruto said, but the bandits did not take him seriously. Author. In vain. Kakashi-sensei, Ami, did you hear, yes, that I warned them? And 3 times after what was said, nods followed from his teammates. Naruto pulled out the same dagger from its sheath. Its length was about 30 centimeters. Suddenly appearing in front of the bandit who was talking to him, Uzumaki stuck the dagger into his neck and repeated the blow several more times so that the enemy would definitely die. The other bandits did not expect this and were not ready. 2 of them were stabbed with huge ice spikes, right in the chest. Raikiri, the name of the technique, was heard from Hataki. The silver-haired man ran towards the opponents with a hand made of lightning and killed them one by one. At this rate, almost all of the bandits were already dead. Naruto killed everyone with his dagger, using his eyes. Ami killed with ice techniques, and Kakashi with Raikiri. The last bandit attacked Naruto from behind and wanted to cut off Uzumaki's head with a horizontal blow, but he was torn to pieces. At the moment of the blow, the scarlet-haired man noticed the last opponent and decided to use his Kagun. You know, Naruto began to speak to the half-allied bandits, whose lower body was missing. "I hate platitudes. Having said this, Uzumaki crushed his head by stepping on it with his foot. Now there were many corpses on the road and everything was covered in blood. The rest who were watching the battle were simply stunned. They did not expect anyone to be killed on this mission. Even Kushina, who had seen many deaths, was in shock, and there was nothing to say about the genin. Some of them could barely stand on their feet, and the girls were vomiting into the bushes. "These are Gato's people, killing them is a good thing," Kakashi said. "Yes," Naruto answered with a grin. Naruto created 10 clones and ordered them to bury the corpses somewhere, and seal the weapons and money they had, in case they came in handy. Team 11 started reading their books again, and after 10 minutes everyone had recovered from the shock. Now Menma and Takashi were a little afraid of Naruto, as were Naruko and Kamiko. Sasuke and Sakura were not afraid and did not hate Uzumaki, because they understood that he warned them and gave them a chance to leave. After another half hour, everyone set off again. They walked for about 2 hours and came to the seashore, where a boat with a driver was waiting for them. "We won't all fit in the boat," said a middle-aged man who looked younger than Tazuna-san. "No problem, we can walk on water," said Hitaki. "I can too," Sasuke suddenly declared. Yes, he can walk on the surface of water, because Naruto himself taught him. Sakura, Kamiko, Naruto, Takashi, and Menma got into the boat, while Kushina, Kakashi, Ami, Naruto, and Sasuke walked on the water. The boat had a working motor, but the owner of the boat did not use it, which seemed very suspicious. Now they had already reached the shore. When everyone got out of the boat, the driver immediately turned on the motor and sailed away wherever his eyes looked. "Explosion," Uzumaki said, and the boat along with its owner was torn to pieces by the explosion of a dozen explosive tags that he had placed along the way. "Why did you blow up the boat?" Kushina started screaming. "Because he gave someone a signal by turning on the engine. Also, why didn't he use it when we were sailing here? Didn't you find it suspicious?" The scarlet-haired man began to state the facts. Kushina fell silent after these words, and the genin were again shocked by the fact that Naruto was killing people so easily. Suddenly, everyone heard the whistle of metal. "Watch out!" Kakashi shouted, knocking down the customer. The others obeyed Hitaki and also lay down except Naruto. The Jinchuriki turned his head to the side, thereby dodging the huge sword. The sword hit the tree trunk and stayed there. Suddenly a man appeared on the sword, with a half-bandaged face and a protector from the village of the Hidden Mist. "Momochi Zabuza, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist," Kakashi said as he stood up. "Hitaki Kakashi, Konoha's copy ninja," answered the silver-haired man. "Give me this old man and I won't kill you." "How banal," Naruto said in his usual manner. "Protect the customer, you can't handle him," said Kushina, addressing the genin. "But we can help you," said Kamiko. "No. Kakashi and I will fight him, and you stand here and don't interfere." Bloody Habanera shouted angrily. "Okay," said Ami and Naruto. After these words, Ami sat down on the grass and began to read the book again, and Naruto lay down on her lap, also reading the book. Author, don't think that they can be a couple. They treat each other like brother and sister. These actions surprised everyone except the mentor of Team 11, even Zabuza was shocked. "Okay, let's fight already," said Kakashi, lifting his forehead protector and showing the world his Sharingan. Author, I won't describe the battle between Kakashi and Kushina against Zabuza because I'm too lazy. After a few minutes of fighting, Kushina was trapped in Zabuza's water prison. "I think our time has come," Naruto said as he stood up from Ami's lap. Yuki and Uzumaki stood next to Kakashi, preparing for battle. Ami began to fold the seals for the technique. When she finished she said ice peaks and more than 10 peaks flew at the swordsman. Momochi barely dodged this technique, but his leg was still caught. Suddenly, from behind, the Nuke-nin of the mist heard air gust. From this technique, Zabuza himself flew several meters. Now Kakashi shouted while making seals. Yuki and Uzumaki also started making seals. Water Wave Ami and Naruto shouted the name of the technique at the same time. A huge wave of water headed straight for the swordsman. Lightning Discharge. Hitaki shouted the name of the technique. The electric discharge merged with the water wave. Momochi was first washed away by a wave, and then hit by a strong discharge. Eventually he flew off and hit a large rock. Suddenly, 2 needles were stuck in the swordsman's neck and he lost consciousness, and an umbu appeared next to him. On the umbu's mask was the sign of the Mist Village. "Thank you for helping me kill him," said the ANBU member and took the swordsman's body on his shoulders. "I must deliver him to the mist, because there are still many secrets in his body." Having said this, he disappeared. After the battle, Ami immediately passed out from fatigue, lack of sleep, and chakra exhaustion. She was picked up by Uzumaki, who was also not in the best shape. Putting Yuki on the grass, Naruto pulled out a small medicine bottle from his pocket, took the pills. Uzumaki called the silver-haired one to him. "Kakashi-sensei. I too am about to lose consciousness. I just decided to warn you." The scarlet-haired man spoke with some breathlessness. "One more thing. Have you also noticed the catch in this umbu?" "Yes, he certainly didn't do the things that umbu should do," Hitaki said thoughtfully. "Okay, when I wake up, we'll talk." Having said this, Naruto lay down next to Ami and also passed out. Mission to the Land of Waves Part 3. Torture of Gato After the battle, everyone was getting themselves in order. As the large-scale water technique had hit Kushina and the genin, all the water that was on the shore began to slowly flow into the sea. "What's wrong with them?" Namikaze asked Kakashi, running up to Team 11. "Nothing serious, just severe chakra depletion and fatigue." The cop